Hello again, William. I'd like to outdoors, and I'd like to thank you for joining me for another Burn Friday Burn. I I've been saying here the past few weeks that why don't you join me next week and see if it is another exciting episode? Well, I do know this much: Reba will not be joining us today. We are still close to 4th of July when all the fireworks are still being used up. And she is so afraid of fireworks, it's hard to get her out of the house because she does not like that loud, sharp popping sound up there. So I know she won't be out here today. But even though she exercises what I want to talk about, hers still isn't strong enough to overcome her fears and anxieties from fireworks. Faith. She, no matter how much she trusts me in everything, she doesn't believe that I can protect her hearing from that noise. Which I can't, because there's just so much of it going on uh, here where we live at. It's not against the law. And even if it was, the way society is today, this still wouldn't matter. So, when I say that I believe you're going to be truthful with me, so I trust you. I have faith. Well, I pray that that is the way you feel toward me. I want to know that you have faith that everything that I bring you is going to be truthful. Because I'm not going to intentionally bring you anything that's not provable by the scriptures. And I promised you that so that you would build up your faith toward what I've got to say. And, so having faith doesn't necessarily mean that we have faith in God. Yeah. And there's blind faith as well, where you just blindly go off into something hoping that it will end well. Now, when I sit down in this chair that I'm sitting in, I have faith in this chair holding me up because it has done it in the past. Now, if I go to someone else's house, my faith in their chair isn't going to be the same as it is in my own chair because I haven't tested theirs out yet. Now, you know what I mean? So, I have tested God out, and I know He is someone that I can trust. So my faith in Him is without question, unwavering. Yep. Now, I think your faith in me should be that you know what I'm fixing to say. I'm going to go get that burn going. Yep, I'll be right back. So, everybody is still celebrating. I don't think they ever sobered up for the weekend, for last weekend. Anyway, we're going to try to cope with it and get this fire started up here. That's hot. All right. Well, Reba didn't join me, but look here. One of our yard residents. It hangs around in our yard and the neighbor's yard. Comes through under the fence every once in a while and visits us. I guess looking for something different to eat, maybe. It don't take long to get gone, though. Now, faith. A lot of people know a little bit about what the Bible says about that. Hebrews chapter 11. How about verse 1? Faith is the confidence that what we hope for will actually happen. It gives us assurance about things we cannot see. So faith is believing that God is present when all we hear is silence. He said, we hope for something, and even though we don't see it, we believe we receive it. So, that chapter 11 in Hebrews, it's called the Hall of Faith for a reason. It talks about a bunch of people. I didn't count them beforehand, but I would say 18, 19 or so. I'm going to mention a couple of them for time's sake. The first one I'm going to mention is Noah. This dude, because God said to, this dude spent 100 years building a boat. Yeah. God told him it needed to be this size, and that's what he did. He measured it out and started building it because God told him it was going to have enough room for him, his family, and all the animals that God would bring to it. So, how about another one? Abraham. And God said, hey, I want you to leave your family, everything you've got, your lands and your country, and go somewhere that I'm going to show you when you get there. How would you like to do that? Take off, leave your home, your family, and everything setting, and go somewhere. And you wouldn't know where you was going until you got there. That's the kind of faith Abraham had. He believed God. And he trusted him, even though he didn't know him very well at the time. And how about Abraham's wife, Sarah? Now, she was way past the age of having a child, and yet God said, "You're going to have one anyhow." I believe the Bible said she laughed about it. And God said, "Why'd you laugh?" "Oh, I didn't." "Yeah, you did." After he confronted her about it, she, in faith, believed that she was going to. And she became the mother, the matriarch of many nations. And, Moses' parents, they believed in God so much that when Pharaoh was killing all of the male Hebrews, Moses' parents believed that God would spare him if they put him in a little reed raft and put him afloat in the river. He spent the next 40 years being raised up to be a prince in Egypt. And then he gave it all up because he believed that God had something better for him. And that's the way we need to be. We need to believe that God has something better for us than a life of sin and shame. So, all of these people, it goes on, it talks about more of them. When some spies were sent out to spy out Jericho, find a weakness. But Rahab took them in and hid them once the news got out that there were spies amongst them. But she believed what they told her, that her and her household was going to be spared when the calamity struck. So, all of these people, and there's more, there's Gideon. God cut his army way back, cut him down to 300 men and without weapons. Barak, Samson, David, Samuel, the list goes on. Hebrews chapter 12 begins like this. It says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses," don't think you're not being watched, "to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith." So, faith is trusting in God even in darkness. When things look the worst, that's when God's at work. I don't know how many of you do this. In faith, we drink this bottled water, believing that these people don't put nothing in it. Talk about blind faith. Every day, from the first day of your life to the last one, it's a walk, a life lived in faith, a walk of faith. But sometimes it feels scary because we can't see around the corner, and we like to know what's ahead. We like to know what's coming. That's why we look at the weather forecast. We want to know what it's going to be like tomorrow. We want to know how hot it's going to be. We want to know if it's going to rain or not, so that we can carry an umbrella or wear our goulashes. Yeah, we fear the unknown and the uncertain. That's because we have such a human nature that we don't put enough faith in God and believe that He's going to bring us through what He brings us to, that we have to know what's going on. You know, some people asked Jesus, said, when's all this gonna, when's the end gonna get here? Jesus said, no man knows the day or the hour, only God. So your life, from the first day to the last, you have to live it in faith, believing that God's going to take you through it, deliver you from all the calamities, and bring you out on the other side safe and sound. And the Bible tells us that God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. As 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity. It doesn't say the spirit of fear, because there's more things, more spirits that can cause fear than one. But one of power, love, and self-discipline. I believe the King James Version says sound mind. Self-discipline. Yeah. Well, I believe. Yeah, enough is enough, huh? What can you say about faith? That you either exercise it or you don't, because the Bible tells us that God has given every man the measure of faith. So everybody's got it. Where we place it is the question. Where is your faith? This one guy told Jesus that because he wanted his son delivered from a deaf and dumb spirit, I believe is what Jesus called it. And Jesus said, have faith, believe. And the man said, I believe, help my unbelief. So, if he will help his unbelief, why wouldn't he help yours? I know he helped mine. Anybody that watched my reveal video, Burn Friday Burn, about 3 weeks ago, I talked a little bit about that, how God increased my faith to where I would trust Him unwavering, without doubts, that what His promises are in the Bible, I believe. Speaking, I done passed it though, but jumping backwards just a little bit back there to where I was talking about the hall of faith in Hebrews 11, Psalms chapter 22 verses 4 and 5 has just a bit to say about that as well. The writer says, our ancestors trusted in you and you rescued them. They cried out to you and were saved. They trusted in you and were never disgraced. And He has not changed. He will rescue you out of all your distresses. Yeah. Have faith in God, Jesus said. So, what I think I'd like to do today is say thank you for joining me for this episode of Burn Friday Burn. And I ain't gonna say stick around because I know you ain't going to, but if you haven't done so already, you can hit on that little cross down there in the corner. It's on that rock, and that little thing will pop up there and say subscribe. Click on that, and then go down below there and hit that notification bell and click all when that screen pops up so that you won't miss next Friday's Burn Friday Burn. May the Lord bless and keep you.